and joining us. We are going to record this, so we will be able to go ahead and share that with folks who couldn't attend tonight. And we'll also have the video that we're going to play available on YouTube and our social media and everything else for use that way. But we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Kyle Wilson, Conservation Program Manager with Franklin Soil and Water. And this is our virtual event to kind of celebrate the completion of a large-scale stream and wetland restoration project that we've had ongoing for a few years here at Franklin Soil and Water. So with that, if you don't mind, if you could go ahead and mute yourself during the presentation. We'll go through a little bit of a talk here about the background of the project and of Hellbranch Meadows itself. I'm going to give a couple minutes here to Mike Kelly of the EPA to talk a little bit about our funding mechanism for this project, and then a couple words from Chad Kettlewell, our design consultant, and then we'll jump into a video for about 15 minutes. It'll really show you what we've got going on out there and give you that tour. We, of course, wanted to meet out there and show everybody all the happenings, but this is the next best thing. So a little bit of background about Hellbranch Meadows. This is a 200-acre parcel out in western Franklin County that Franklin Soil and Water acquired back in 2008. We used Clean Ohio Conservation Funds and a reduced sale from the landowner to purchase that. And really, you know, Franklin Soil and Water, though we've had a pretty robust conservation easement program, we never intended really to own land like this. It was a unique situation where Franklin County Metro Parks and City of Columbus weren't able to move quickly because of other projects they had going on. So we were able to kind of step up and fill that gap on a property that otherwise was going to be turned into large lot development and kind of seen that major change happen. So we were excited to buy it again back in 2008, but we had no funds or anything for restoration, and we had no long-term plans for it. So we started thinking about what we could do with the property, demonstration sites and things like that, and using it for our education program, our outreach to, you know, over 10,000 students a year. Could we utilize this? So those things are still evolving, but the big step happened a few years ago when we finally connected with a funding resource, and that was one made available by DEFA and the Ohio EPA. And real quick, I'd like to introduce Mike Kelly with OEPA, and he'll give you a couple minutes about what that program is and some of the properties that they look for and things like that. Mike?
Thank you, Kyle, and thank you for letting me know what I'm going to talk about, because I wasn't sure up until right now. No, the Water Resource Restoration Sponsor Program, the goal of the program is to preserve and protect the best aquatic resources across the state. And we use an innovative funding method where we advance interest from our Water Pollution Control Loan Fund program to fund these type of projects. So we hook up a sponsoring project with an implementer like Franklin Soil and Water to complete these projects, and it takes a lot of coordination and a lot of work. But I think you know, we're all proud and happy, especially with the way that Hellbranch has turned out. So it's been a pleasure working with Kyle and a pleasure working with Chad from Coldwater to make this happen. We've been out there a few times. Unfortunately, with COVID, we've been stuck inside, so we haven't seen the site in months and months and months. So looking forward to seeing the video, and I think it'll be exciting to get back out there and see the aquatic insects and the fish and the wildlife that are attracted to this excellent restoration project nearby Columbus, and we hope to do that soon. It's not going to be this year for us, but we look forward to doing it next year, and I'm sure Kyle will invite us, and we look forward to that day for many reasons.
Great, absolutely. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. And without that funding source from the EPA, this really never could happen. You know, they really gave us an opportunity to not only focus on the restoration efforts that you're going to see here today, but really bump that up even with a robust planting. You'll see some of the stats of the trees and shrubs and prairie plantings that we do at the end. This is a big project, and without that funding source and opportunity, we never could have made it happen. So very grateful for that. Next, real quick, I just want to introduce Chad Kettlewell with Coldwater Consulting. Chad, you want to say hi real quick and just say who you are, and the video will kind of speak for itself beyond that, I suppose.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. My internet connection's struggling a little bit here,
Okay.
so hopefully it doesn't cut out. But yeah, Chad from Coldwater. It was a treat to work on this project. So you know, we appreciate the opportunity, and yeah, we're happy to have helped with something that that really has hopefully made an improvement along the Hellbranch, run main stem and in the Darby watershed as well. So
Great.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chad. And without further ado, we're going to kind of have Corey Gassaway, who kind of spearheaded our video effort here today, along with Amy and Kurt in our office, and Kristen on getting the word out. So we're going to have Corey go ahead and share her screen and start about a film here, and then we'll return with a question and answer after that.
To ensure nobody gets lost on the tour, let's take a look at a map of the Hellbranch Meadows project area. You can see on the right side of the property a dark blue line which indicates the original stream corridor with black power lines running overhead of it. The lighter blue color is the newly constructed stream channel, and the orange area around it is floodplain restoration area. The dark green color is where we've restored forest, and the light green color is where we've restored prairies. The yellow colors are where new wetlands have been built. The red line that's running through the middle of the property is a seasonal tributary that feeds into the Hellbranch Run. Now that you're oriented, please sit back and enjoy your tour.
Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wilson, Conservation Program Manager with Franklin Soil and Water Conservation District, and I'd like to welcome you to the Hellbranch Meadows. The property owned by Franklin Soil and Water, located out in the Hellbranch watershed, which is Franklin County's main tributary to state and national scenic river, the Big Darby Creek. Over the last few years, we've had the privilege of seeing our large-scale stream restoration take place here, using funds from the Ohio EPA's WRRSP program, and we'd like to talk to you a little bit about that project here today. Franklin Soil and Water acquired Hellbranch Meadows back in 2008. We used the Clean Ohio Conservation Fund and a reduced sale from the landowner to acquire the property. But at that time, we really didn't have the resources or funding to do a large-scale restoration. So some time went by, and we were finally able to locate that potential funding source. And then we brought in the team from Coldwater Consulting, and Chad and his group, and they kind of helped us through the restoration process. So Chad, could you tell us a little bit about your role in the restoration of Hellbranch Meadows?
Yeah, so we were very excited to be involved with this project. It's definitely one that has been very rewarding, come with some challenges, that's for sure as well. But yeah, the Water Resource Restoration Sponsorship Program is one that sets out to remove impairments to the aquatic life uses in streams in Ohio. So the main goal here was to improve the main stem of Hellbranch Run itself, and along with that came improvements to the floodplain and the riparian corridor, and also the intact uplands that are beyond as well, to restore a more healthy, full riparian system.
And one of the great things that Coldwater did for us in the project, beyond obviously the design and engineering that Franklin Soil and Water doesn't have the capacity to do, is they helped us through that bid process a lot. As a district, we don't go through those large-scale bidding of contracts a lot of times. So to have their expertise involved in that, make sure we were in compliance with ORC and moving things forward well. So a lot of different components from cold water consulting. And now we're just going to take a look at some of the other features that we have here at the property. As we approach design here at Hellbranch Meadows, a few of the things we really wanted to look at were the main stream and its connection to floodplain. Hellbranch, through this section of property, traditionally was straightened as a ditch for drainage purposes for agricultural usage. So what that created is a very over-deepened and over-widened trapezoidal channel. And it prevented a lot of the different features of a natural stream from occurring there. So you didn't have any pools or riffle developments. So one of the main aspects of the project was to reintroduce those back into this property. And Chad, could you tell us just a little bit about what we're looking at here and the importance of this habitat?
Yeah, so with the kind of straightened nature of the stream that was here before, this faster flowing water wasn't really present other than a couple of very small locations. So what we did with the realignment of the channel was to focus these areas where the stream has some fall to speed the water up into straight stretches. And then as you can see behind me, you have flatter water in the pools as you go around the bends. So this creates kind of a diverse array of habitat where you have the riffle loving species that are using this faster flowing water and other pool loving species that'll use the flatter water in the curves. This also helps the stream to focus its deposition and material management. So, if you go down here on the left side of the channel, you can see kind of in the background there's some pickerel weed growing, and that's because the stream is depositing fines there. And as the system matures, it will continue to narrow and find an equilibrium so that it continue to move the fines through and keep the sediment cleaned out. As Kyle mentioned, the reconnection of the stream with the floodplain is one of the primary goals of the project. With the channel now realigned outside of the AEP easement, we're able to have a fully forested system at some point in the future. So that's the end goal here, is that down the road we end up with a healthy forested floodplain that can serve those functions as far as sediment settling out from floodwaters, as well as the habitat and nutrient reduction functions that you get from a healthy active floodplain.
And we want to see this, as a native tree and shrubs kind of feature here. You can see behind Chad some sycamore, a lot of different oak species down in here. What else do we have along the stream channel, Chad?
Buckeye, cottonwoods, we have some black willows. There's also some blight-resistant American elms that were planted as well.
So shading. We want these stream corridors and riparian zones, provide that shade to the stream channel, keep those water temperatures down, and help that habitat along. In a stream restoration project, when you're creating floodplain, you often have to remove some existing trees from the area where you're constructing that floodplain. And that was the case here at Hellbranch Meadows. Even though we didn't have to remove a lot of vegetation, we had some very nice existing oak trees that were down in that area that was set to become the new floodplain for the stream channel. Fortunately, we were able to find a contractor that could come in with a large truck and spade and actually dig and relocate some very large oak trees for us. This is about a 35-foot shingle oak that was originally down in that floodplain, and we were able to bring it up to the upland area here. We did that with about 17 other trees. So we've got now instantly sort of some very nice keystone trees. For those of you familiar with Central Ohio, you know that we have a lot of hydric soils like Kokomo soils and things like that that hold a lot of moisture and have a high clay content often. Traditionally in the area though, those soils have been drained and we've lost a lot of wetland habitat because of that, either for agricultural purposes or during the development of the area. So part of the project we really wanted to focus on in these upland areas was recreating and reestablishing those wetland habitats. And Chad, could you talk a little bit about this wetland and sort of the techniques we used to reestablish that hydrology here?
Yeah, so this was an area that was mapped as hydric soils, and so we identified this as a potential restoration wetland. The work that was done here involved minor excavation of between 0 and 18 inches of soil. There was also a couple of clay tile laterals that were removed here. Once that work was done, the topsoil that was removed was respread in a way that we have varying micro pools and high spots and low spots. Microtopography is what we call it. We also added in some large woody debris that you can see here, which also provides some of that microtopography. And as it breaks down with time, it will form these kind of small high spots where other drier plants will grow and add diversity into the system. These coarse woody debris also provide habitat for amphibians, especially frogs and salamanders that can hide under them as they're searching out for prey in these wetlands.
And recently this summer, during one of our site visits, we had a few visitors in this area, right?
Yes, we did. We had 22 egrets that were in this wetland, and probably a lot of frogs and toads and tadpoles that those egrets were seeking out.
Good day for Hellbranch Meadows, bad day for the frogs. We're now joined by Corey Gassaway, our outreach program specialist. And Corey, you've seen a little bit of the restoration efforts that we have going on here at Hellbranch. What can you kind of anticipate as far as wildlife using these different habitats?
Yeah, well, what's great about Hellbranch is we're really rebuilding this habitat from the bottom up. So we're starting with kind of the base of all life, which is these native plants. Those native plants, they provide seeds for birds. They provide pollen and nectar for insects, and also insects will eat the leaves of those plants. And it kind of just keeps working its way up until we have things here like mink that are associated, especially with stream restoration, being around those nice clean waterways.
So here we're standing in a section of the tributary that is basically at the bottom of the terrace where the upland area feeds down into the floodplain of Hellbranch Run. This is a section of stream channel that we recognized had a pretty high gradient. So it's kind of pushing the limits of what a normal sort of rock bottom, cobble bottom stream channel can be stable at. And above that, you get into more of like step pool systems. So in order to have a channel that is stable, we have a series of grade control structures here that are meant to hold the channel in place and keep it from down cutting during the first several years after construction. And then you can see that there are quite a few willow plantings that are coming up here at the edge of the channel. And with time, these are going to grow all the way across the channel. And when these logs that are making up these structures rot and go away, these willows are going to be what hold the stream channel together and keep the grade from changing over time.
So we're here at one of the larger wetlands of the project. This is a floodplain wetland, and it's the one that we anticipate will have water in it most of the year. Typical depths probably 18 inches, maybe up to 24 inches. And Chad, you want to tell us a little bit about why we chose this location and what we think this will function as?
Yeah, so this is one of the, like Kyle said, floodplain wetlands that is basically placed in the remnant channel. So the original stream channel for Hellbranch actually came through this area. When the channel was relocated outside of this power line easement, this area was left as a low spot so that when floodwaters come up and out of Hellbranch Run, it can feed into this area. And this wetland will serve as a sink for sediment and nutrients. It will also serve as habitat for a variety of wildlife that are utilizing Hellbranch Run and the riparian corridor. You can see some buttonbush plantings that were installed, as well as some of the rushes and sedges and grasses that are coming in. This wetland will actually fill in with time. As floodwaters come out of Hellbranch, the bottom will come up and this will turn more into an emergent wetland system as time goes on.
Great sink for some of that sediment coming downstream through the system.
And for floodwaters as well.
Yep. So that's our tour of Hellbranch Meadows. We hope that we were able to capture some of the really fantastic things that we've been able to do here over the past couple of years. We had a great contractor performing the restoration and work, Facemeyer. They had some really tough conditions to work through. Right at about the time we started moving a lot of dirt out here and getting the project underway, we faced some very big storm events in the wettest summer on record. So they were fighting that at all times, and it delayed the project and caused a few headaches, but they did a fantastic job, and we're really happy with the result here. We'd encourage you to contact us if you want to come out and see the property sometime, and we hope you've enjoyed your time with us today.
Thank you, Corey. And that's our virtual tour there of Hellbranch, everyone. So I hope that gives you a better idea of what we've got going on out at the project. And again, for those of you not familiar, this project is located in western Franklin County, just south of Broad Street on Hellbranch Run. So if you think about Battelle Darby Metro Park, we're about a mile as the crow flies to their east. So a lot of connectivity opportunity there. Just adjacent to our property is a large property owned by Prairie Township. There's City of Columbus Park and Recreation land that's seen extensive stream restoration projects on it just up the stream from us as well. So we really think of this as the Hellbranch restoration corridor, and there's a lot of work that's going to be done over the next decade or so out there and continue that. Long-term operation, we'll probably hope to partner with some of those agencies to allow better access, trails, things like that down the road. But really, you know, the big project, the heavy lift was this restoration. At this time, again, I want to thank Corey and the team for putting that together, and Chad and Mike for being a part of tonight. But we do want to hear from you. So you can either hit the chat button down there if you have a question and type it in there, or if you want to try to jump on, as long as too many people don't jump on at the same time, we'll get a couple questions that way too. So.
Someone asked about the ongoing bird surveys, Kyle.
Ongoing bird survey. There's been a couple bio blitzes out there, and look into that. I honestly don't have any good updates on that right now. Corey, do you have any recent information from this year about how things were going?
So we have had a couple birders out to the property, myself included, that have made a couple lists. I would not call it a formal survey by any means, but we did find some good breeding birds this year. So we did have Bell's Vireo, which, if you know that bird, they're kind of tied to these shrubby kind of lined waterways. So these restoration projects in their early stages are really important to them, and it's kind of a cool bird to see in the area. So that, and lots of warblers and things moving through, and obviously all those egrets. But yeah, I think we'll at least be keeping an eye on the breeding birds for sure.
Looks like we got a question. Can we visit? The property is open with permission, so we do like you to reach out to us. You can email me or call the office, and we can give you details about how to access the property, but we do allow walking. Really not any trails right now, so it is off trail walking, but we do allow people to go out there and visit at this point. No breeding salamanders on the project area just yet. We have seen salamanders and a lot of frogs and toads breeding in a deeper pool that was there existing. So we expect them to be using a lot of that new habitat pretty soon. Laura, I think, asked that question. Jen pointed out, thank you to the Franklin County Commissioners and our state match funds. WRSP funds, you know, this was about a $3 million project. And though they do that great work in providing that resource for us to do the work and provide the planting and all that, there is no staff time associated with that. So without the support of the Franklin County Commissioners and our state match funds and all of our great partners, we wouldn't have been able to spend all those hours in planning and project management and things like that. So it was critical that they supported the project as well. Looking to see.
Can you hear me? This is Neil Owens speaking.
Oh, hi, Neil.
Hi,
Yeah,
how are you? Good. I'm slightly more animated than that picture you see up at the top of the screen. I'm currently doing my own restoration project alongside my backyard.
Oh, great.
Located in Dublin, right on Kramer Ditch. And the timing of this is perfect because I've just cleared out about 100 feet by 80 feet of honeysuckle.
Sure.
It goes downstream. And I'm now laying out the plan for what I want to put in terms of grasses, shrubs, and so forth that is environmentally sound and will create habitats and so forth.
Okay.
If I were to come out and visit, could I bring that, and could somebody just take a look at it and make any suggestions you might have?
Yeah, potentially. And you may have, did you email us this week for some?
I did last week, actually.
Yeah, so Sarah Ernst is going to reach out to you with some information as well. But yeah, we can certainly look over things for you and help you with some planting recommendations. That'd be.
Yeah. Well, one of the challenges I have is I want to put in native grasses, but there's not that much space. I'd like to keep the grasses lower, close to the stream, so you can sit there and observe it.
Yep.
But create some variety, and I can't tell how that's going to work. So
Sarah will be a good resource.
A bit of a challenge. Yeah.
Yep. Sarah will be a good resource for you.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. The rock used in the stream did not come from the site. Chad, were we able to harvest any of that stream rock from the site? I don't believe so. On this project, there wasn't a real source there, was there?
We had a few areas where the excavation of the new channel encountered a sand, gravel, cobble seam. So there were places where we encountered that and let that be the stream bottom rather than adding the material back in. We actually bid the project with an alternate to source material from on site, but there were enough concerns with, and in reality, probably enough fines, clays and silts and the stuff that was encountered on site that to basically clean it to the point that we could use it and not have a stormwater, problem was cost prohibitive. So there was really only rock that was basically kind of encountered in the bottom of the excavation that was utilized in the stream. So.
Hope that answered your question. Looked like Mark maybe gave that question yet. Good. Any other questions that you can think of right now? Again, we don't want this to serve as the end all for you folks having the opportunity to see this site. If there's a time that works and you're comfortable with it, we are open to doing some socially distanced tours with small groups or individuals. So you can get a hold of me. We're a little busy right now, but things will cool down in the next few weeks. And we'll get out there and take a look at it. Again, you're also welcome with permission to go out there on your own and do some self-guided tours. Any other quick questions?
It looks like Julie asked, how old were the trees planted for the forest cover?
We had a range. So we had everything from basically like a half inch, small container up to like 2-inch stalk that went in. And so I guess that would be, stuff that has had up, maybe on the shorter side of a year growing time to 2.5 years. So there was a bit of a range in there.
And then someone else says, what about the existing seed bank? Was there one?
Yeah, well, all kinds of good stuff comes out there if you give it time. Certainly we were able to get seed from Metro Parks as well. So native prairie seed, Darby genome, and we want that to obviously take root. But I think, even in areas that we haven't worked, we're seeing blue stem and things like that come in. So the seed bank is there. It's just suppressing the invasives and giving things a head start here is our main goal.
I was going to ask if you had any biological baseline on the stream in terms of invertebrates and fish as a point of comparison as the site recovers and develops.
Chad, do you want to talk about what we had survey-wise, or?
Yeah, there were, EPA had done surveys in the vicinity prior to the project. So there are a couple of sites that are nearby that we'll have for comparison once it's been given, a couple of years to progress along. I can't recite the numbers, Mark, off the top of my head, but there are a couple sites nearby.
And there was a mussel survey done as part of the project, and Anthony Sasson and some folks have been back in there once again, and they plan to do that again in the future. Nothing exciting that they found so far. So we are hoping with the efforts that we've gotten and the other Clover and Groff restoration efforts upstream that changes over time. So
great.
Did we see anything else on there, Corey? Does that look?
There's one more. It says, do you have any documentation on the natural tree barriers put in the creek bed?
What kind of documentation are you asking for there, Bill?
I think he must be talking, maybe this is related to the weirs that we were talking about in the tributary there. If you do a Google search for Rosgan stream restoration, you'll be able to find some details about grade control structures that are out there. And there are a lot of times used with large rocks. Sometimes they're used more with just natural materials, trees and logs, especially out west where a lot of work gets done on trout streams and salmon streams. But if there's something specific you're looking for, then reach out to me, and we definitely have some details that we have saved away that we can provide as well.
Well, thank you, Chad. With that, folks, we do have a board meeting tonight, so I do have to run, but I really appreciate you all taking the time to be with us this evening and hear more about Hellbranch Meadows. We're also going to share the link to the video and stuff. If you've got networks and things like that you think might want to see some of this information, we'd be thrilled if you'd share it with them and help spread the word about this project and the WRSP program, which again can do a lot of good in a lot of ways. So we're really grateful to be part of it, and feel free to reach out to me, Corey, anyone on our staff at any time if you want more information or to see the property, and we'd be glad to show you around. So
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for the tour. That was great.
Yeah, great
We'll
tour. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Yep.
It was very helpful.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you, Corey.